been one foreign policy disaster after another under the Biden-Harris regime, from Ukraine to Afghanistan, Israel, and now we're seeing preparations China to have their way in the Pacific. Is it incompetence, sir, or ideology? As we know, many Democrats, they are relishing the advancement of communism and the fall of free people everywhere around this globe. What do you think it is? Is it incompetence or ideology?
Well, Chris, I appreciate being on. I would tell you that, the United States is the last beacon of freedom in the entire world, and the strongest one. And to be able to take that beacon down and advance socialism has been one of the left's advanced ideas or what they want to try and do for a very long time. And so that's one we have to absolutely fight against that and stop that. And part of that is right here in Congress.
But true. And your evaluation of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, what do you think about the reason why they're leaving, for example, the Pacific wide open for China's aggression? Do you think it's ideology, or do you think they're just incompetent?
Well, no, I think Joe Biden has ties to China, and I don't think it's necessarily. I mean, I believe they're incompetent. Number one, I mean, we've seen that. You gave great examples of that. We've seen that across the world stage. When you have weakness, it invites aggression, and our nation is seen as weak right now under the Biden-Harris administration. And time after time, the world has seen that demonstrated. So it's definitely incompetence, but I think it's also ideology when it comes to what they believe socialism is best for people across the world, because it leaves governments in power, and they're part of the government, so they want to stay in power. No, it's wrong. That is not the way our country was birthed, and that's not the way our country is going to continue to survive.
Well, Congressman, there seems to be a competition for incompetence between the executive branch and the legislative branch lately. Congress returning to session this week, and after the House GOP admitted that for the 27th year in a row, they're not going to bother to create a budget as required under the law, instead opting for more grotesque Democrat overspending levels. Speaker Johnson claims he will tie the SAVE Act to the bill to spend more money than we the people give Congress. This is the first time since the GOP has been in the majority that a pro-American provision has been attached to a so-called must-pass bill. But is this the wisest choice? Your colleague, Congressman Biggs, had this to say to me the other day. Listen.
Do you think the SAVE Act, by the time, if all things worked the way we're talking about, and it actually went into effect, the question is, will it impact this 2024 election? The odds are no, because you're going to have states that are already voting with early ballots. It's nuts. And what does a 6-month CR do for you? It brings another $1.25 trillion in structural deficit, which will go right on top of your national debt, and everybody will wash their hands and go say, look what we did, look what we did.
Yeah, Congressman, I understand the politics of getting the Democrats to have to publicly admit they really want foreign nationals to be able to cancel out American votes in elections. But if this particular SAVE Act won't help us in 2024, wouldn't, I don't know, deep government overspending cuts be of more value to the American people?
Well, I think it will help us in 2024. It would go into effect immediately as soon as it's signed into law, and it would require states to prove citizenship of those who are on the voter rolls. So in some respect, I think it will help us. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but I think one of the other more as critical things that you have to realize is that when we put a CR, a 6-month CR, and you're probably never going to hear me say this again, but when we push this CR into February or March, then what happens is it allows the Republican administration, hopefully a Republican president, Senate, and House to put Republican policy and Republican spending levels into effect for FY25. Remember, that is retroactive then back to October 1st. So by not doing that, by not allowing for a CR that goes into when the next presidency, then we're guaranteeing a Christmas omnibus with Democrat spending levels and Democrat policies, and I think that's the wrong way to go. And I encourage my Republican colleagues to support this 6-month CR so that we can get our Republican policies and spending levels into FY25 and not Democrat ones.